This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you. You had a week off there.
I missed you over Labor Day.
To be back. So
good.
We're going to begin with your favorite subject of Razorback football. I'm going to quote you from Facebook, okay? Quote,
no.
John Brummett.
Oh, no.
We are a Buick Skylark in a Porsche showroom, but we're priced pretty much the same as the Porsches.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good line, actually.
Well, thank you.
What is your solution to Razorback football futility here?
I go on to say there's really something wrong with you if you buy the Skylark at the full price, which is what I think we're doing with our incredible emphasis on Razorback football to be part of the SEC. We're paying the standard cost, but we're getting none of the satisfaction that Alabama gets or Georgia gets or Mississippi State gets or LSU gets or Texas A&M gets. What's my solution?
Yes.
Who do you think I am, Wally Hall?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you're complaining as any fan would have the right to do.
Well, I'm not really. See, I'm always going to be weird. I'm not complaining about the team. I'm complaining about our cycle of obsessiveness, our condition, our cultural condition. I've called hogaholism. It's an addiction to this pattern, and the pattern is, hey, we got a new coach now, and he was real good down in Texas, and look, he's going to put us over in the left lane and put the hammer down, and he's going to be great, and he's a genius. We haven't seen him do anything yet, but he's a genius. And the sports journalists, using that phrase oxymoronically, they tell you, boy, this guy's good, it's going to be great. He's having seminars on his offense. His offense is so great. And it's the same old story. We could have the 25th best recruiting class in the country and still be the 11th or 12th in the SEC every year, and so we get compoundingly less talent, but less than what we're in. I think Arkansas, this is not my solution, but I believe it's true. I believe Arkansas's heyday was in the SWC, a small two-state conference with a lot of church schools. I think it's a better geographic and cultural and athletic fit in what they call the Big 12, even though it only has 10 teams. Arkansas is sort of like Oklahoma State. It's sort of like Kansas State. It's sort of like Iowa State. It's not like Oklahoma and Texas, but I like Texas Tech. That's more its speed, I think.
And that's where you're
advocating. That's where no, I'm not advocating anything. Oh. I'm just advocating let's stop this cultural obsession where we get overexcited over pure hype. The program do what it wants, whether they go 2-10 or 8-5, not going to matter that much to me, except for the observation of the cultural condition. You see, but it's sort of embarrassing if we were to announce, because I tell you, the Big 12 would take us. Because they only got 10 and need to get back to 12 to be the Big 12. But they'd love Arkansas. But you have to essentially say, well, we just can't play over there with Alabama and Georgia and those, but we might do a little better over here. That would be the reason. We would have to concoct some Trumpian explanation for it that would not be so. Anyway, that's my take on it.
Well, you've given me a segue to talk about Trump now,
which
I was trying to figure out how we were going to get off of this Razorback conversation and move to national political issues.
How about hype and cultural disease? There you go. It leads from hogaholism to Trumpism.
Real quickly, by the way, this is the 50th anniversary year of the 1969 shootout, and you wrote an epic story for us on the 40th anniversary. I need to dredge that up and put that out on our Tusk to Tail
The
website.
1969 loss, which is one of the defining cultural events in Arkansas. It's the reason for our inferiority complex, that in the 1957 Central Crisis. Major. And I got to go to a reunion of the Arkansas and Texas players.
You did?
And they were all, and the Arkansas players, Bill Montgomery, Dicus, Burnett, they were all my heroes. And I was just like a special guest
I still see Mike Bichetti at his grandkids' games.
A little aside.
Yeah.
At the meeting of the reunion of the Arkansas and Texas players in the '69 shootout, essentially for the national championship, I was a guest there because of my affinity and had written about it. I was the biggest guy there.
Oh.
Is that not remarkable? I looked around at these guys I thought were big offensive linemen, and I went, oh. Because big in those days was about 230,
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Let's talk about
Trump.
President Trump.
Speaking of
one of his latest
being the largest guy there.
Yes. Trump and the Taliban. This has garnered quite a bit of consternation along a lot of us. Does the president get a good grade for trying to bring about a peaceful resolution to this long-running situation in Afghanistan, or does he get a flunking grade for the timing of it all and the fact that he would have been bringing terrorists on American soil to some revered ground at Camp David?
Roby, I have to give him an incomplete because it was literally incompleted, and so or not completed. So yeah, we can't say. It'd be interesting if he had pulled it off, what the reaction would be, or if they'd continued to bring the Taliban and the Afghan government people to Camp David, and not succeeded, the criticism of that. So I can't say I can't grade that. It's always good to work for peace, and to end this quagmire would be great, but it's very complex. You run the risk of actually enhancing terrorism by breaking up the system as it is now and the sort of our military presence there. But we got to get out somehow. That's not what happened here, I don't think. I think Trump had a decent idea. Let's work on this. He had a special envoy who I think was making some progress. But on something this delicate, progress is not result. It's the devil is in the end, the details. What appears to have happened is the classic Trump deal. He decided at the end he wanted to look like he wanted to make the grand gesture himself. He wanted to be the great healer. So rather than let the envoy keep working, he wanted to bring everybody to Camp David, where he would be like Jimmy Carter with Sadat and Begin, and he would get all the credit and he would get to announce it, which is typical of what he wants to do. That's his style. That's his megalomaniacal style. And then, for reasons we can't be sure of, he had to stop it, either because of the killing of the American, maybe, or maybe because it was about to break down and it was going to fail. Who knows? But then, what does he do? I mean, this is all just Trump. This is the same old Trump story. On a Saturday night, when he needs to be watching movies or something, I don't know, or football.
College football.
College football.
He could have been watching Arkansas and Ole Miss.
He goes on a mad tweet spree and announces, boy, I was about to make this great gesture. Boy, I was close. But now I'm going to make another great gesture. I don't like what they did, Taliban did, and so I'm going to cancel this. He has a condition, I think. He wants to be heroic. And the way to achieve peace is the way you achieve tariff reform. You work delicately, multinationally. I've said it twice, not 1,000 times, on this show. And it's just, who knows what we've got now. Pompeo says, hey, it's not over. Well, is it? Or is it not? I mean, can you put it back together after the president's had such tweet revelation about it? I don't know. But that's what happened here, to me.
All right, you, this past week, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice, was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Huge turnout, huge waiting list if you could have made it there. Did you go to the event?
My wife did.
Okay, so
but you could stream it.
Yes, right.
And it was excellent streaming service.
So there was obviously a left-leaning appeal to her presence here.
You think?
Well,
yeah.
I saw quite a few Republicans on my timeline that were also.
Okay. Yeah, that's your point.
Were there?
Maybe that's where we're going. Go ahead.
So maybe there was also a women's appeal there that transcended some political boundaries. You think?
Yeah, there are a lot of things going on here. There was a liberals' night out. Frustrated liberals, pent up anger and need to express happiness in their progressivism, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg is the notorious RBG and an icon to those folks, and so that was happening. She is, politics aside, her early work advancing women's rights against gender discrimination, epic, and as it made a difference in a lot of women's lives who may themselves be moderate to conservative, and they would identify with her. And then it's just pure celebrity. I mean, there have been movies and documentaries made about her. She's a celebrity. Somebody said to me, "What's a big?" I said, "Hey, why is more being made of this than when Scalia came to Fort Smith?" Well, Scalia was a pretty big guy, but RBG is bigger as an icon for all the reasons I just mentioned. And he said, he replied, whenever a Supreme Court justice would come here, it's a major story. And I said, How many do you think Samuel Alito would draw to the Verizon Center? I predicted 8 to 12 people would come. It's not that it's who she was and what she represented on many levels. And it was a major event that was cathartic for a lot of reasons, for a lot of people. And she got confirmed 96-3, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Relatively modern times. And it's a time when, can you imagine now an ACLU, a person who done ACLU work early in her career, who says, yes, I'm pro-choice, look at what I've ruled on the Court of Appeal, I was an appeals court justice, getting 96-3 vote and getting Republican. No, that's how, she also, to me, she represented the extent to which our politics has declined to its state of dysfunction right now, precipitously just in those 26 years. So there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, interesting. You got any more columns coming on that? Or do you think you've got it all out?
I've got it all out.
Okay.
I think.
Lastly here, Speaker Matthew Shepard sends a letter to to the membership of the House saying that he is going to ask them to oust Representative Mickey Gates. What do you think the odds for success of that are? And do you think Speaker Shepard has handled this properly? He's done his legal research. He's obviously, it sounds like he's gotten some votes lined up. And then there was the strategic, we will release this on a Friday afternoon when nobody's paying a whole lot of attention, and put it out there.
A lot in that question.
It was, wasn't it?
Several in there.
A loaded question is what they call that.
I'm going to try to reconstruct it. What are the chances of expelling Gates? Good. I don't think. Matthew Shepard, I've interviewed him, done a piece for your magazine, and the joke was, he's just, not the joke, just the thing about him is he's just notoriously cautious. And he will not move unless he's got things lined up, and he's very, very judicious in his thinking. And when I saw that he'd issued this letter, two things were immediately obvious to me. He's found a law that's pretty clearly applicable, and there is. It simply says, you plead no contest, you cannot serve. Well, okay, you got that. Two is, he's lined up the votes. Now, whether he has or not, I think that he has. And instantly, you had you had Governor Hutchinson supporting him instantly. You know, I think the likelihood is strong that unless he chooses to resign in advance of expulsion, he'll be expelled. I think so, for reasons that under this statute would seem to be evident, and that's what I expect to happen.
All right, he is John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. You can catch his stuff in the newspaper. You can catch it online.
On the iPad.
On the iPad, and you can catch him with us every Monday. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. That's all for today's program. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.